Number 1. You're told that vector u is equal to ABC, which is 5, 0, 2, and that vector v is equal to DEF, which is 2, 6, 4. And you're asked to find the cross product u cross v. And how you do that is you write down vector u horizontally, vector v horizontally, and then I, j, k. And the cross product is just that determinant. And since it's a 3 by 3 determinant, we can just write down this determinant, these 9 entries, and then repeat the first 2 columns, I52, J06, and find the determinant by doing what we call the spaghetti method. We multiply those entries, we get 0I, plus we multiply those entries, we get 4J, plus we multiply the next entry, and we get, okay, hold on, I just have a typo here. It should be 264, but the product is still 0, so that we lucked out. Plus 30k, then minus, and we go this way. That's 0k, that's plus 12i, and then plus 20j. And 0 take away 12 is negative 12i. 4 take away 0, sorry, minus 20, that's negative 16j. And 30 minus 0, why, that's 30k. And part A is done. We found out that u cross v equals this. Now on to part B. Part B asks us to compute the area of the triangle that has, I'll call it vector W. It has this point, and it also has u, which is 5, 0, 2, and vector v, which is 6, 0, 2, 6, 4. 2, 6, 4. So now, you have these 3 vectors. You have these 3, let me start over again. You have those 3 points, 1, 2, and 3. And they're probably not on the plane of your computer screen. Some of those points are inside the computer screen, some are outside the computer screen, and etc. One of them, W, is actually inside. Well, this is W, say, point W, point U. So now we're considering these as points. Point U and point V. Well, if we know these 2 vectors, if we knew those 2 vectors, that would kind of give us what angle this is. That is, the third side would be determined, and that's the triangle. We will call this vector WV, vector WV, and we'll call this vector WU. Well, the thing is that WU, to find the vector from point W to point U, you subtract the first components. 5 minus 0 is 5. 0 take away 0 is 0. 2 take away 0 is 2. So it's 502. Ooh, but that's vector u. The vector from the vector WV. The vector WV is determined the same way. You do 2 minus 0, you do 6 minus 0, and then you do 4 minus 0. Oh, coincident. That's vector V. Now, it turns out that if you take the cross product of those two vectors and you find the magnitude of it and multiply it by a half, you'll have the area of this triangle. But taking the cross product of those two vectors is the same as taking the cross product of those two vectors. But the beauty of this is we just took the cross product of u cross v. And if we find the length of it and multiply it by a half, we'll have the area of the triangle. But that's pretty routine, calculating that. There's the half. The length of this vector, these two bars mean find the length of it. Well, there's the vector, there's u cross v there. So the length of it is the negative 12 squared plus the negative 16 squared plus the 30 squared. Well, right here, I'll do that calculation. 12 squared is 144. 16 squared is 196. And 30 squared is 900. That's 340. That's 1240. So you get the square root of 1240 divided by 2. But we can do a little bit better than that. You have the square root of 1240 divided by 2. But 2 is the same thing as square root of 4. So I can just take the square root of the whole thing. And the nice thing is 4 goes into 12 3 times, 4 goes into 4 1 time, and 4 goes into 0 0 times. So the area of the triangle is the square root of 310. Possibly that can be broken up some more. Now, for part C, they want to know the equation of the plane that contains those 3 points. That contains 0, 0, 0. It contains 5, 0, 2, and it contains the point 2, 6, 4. Well, one way of doing it is, well, it's going to be a times x minus, so you pick one of those points, and then you take away x0 plus b times y minus y0 plus c times z minus z0 equals 0. Well, you can plug in 5 and then 0 and then 2. That means that you use the second point. But why not use the first point? Because x minus 0 is just x. And y minus 0 is just y. And z minus 0 is just z. Now, all we need to do is figure out what the a, b, and c are. But we already did. The a, b, and c come from the cross product. Comes from part A. That's A, that's B, and that's C. That's A, B, and C. Negative 12, negative 16, negative 12, negative 16, and 30. Now, So I claim that's the answer to C. And we can check it easily. I can plug in the first point. The first point being 0, 0, 0. I plug in x is 0, y is 0, z is 0. That's 0, minus 0, plus 0. Yep, that equals 0. Now I plug in 502, the next point. 12 times x minus 16 times y plus 30 times z. Does it equal 0? So it's 502. Negative 12 times 5 is negative 60, minus 0, plus 60. Don't worry about taking away 0. Negative 60 plus 60 is 0. So, yep, 502 is on this plane. So is 0, 0, 0. Now is 264 on the plane. So it's negative 12 times x minus 16 times y plus 30 times z. 264. 264. Negative 24 minus 96. That's negative 120. Plus 120. That equals 0. These 3 points are on this plane here. So I'm convinced that we have part C correctly.